Storytimers, it's your favorite Storytimer, Annie, and her best pal, Eve. And today, we're going to be getting back into the wonderfully nice world of Shakespeare with Hamlet. And I really like this book, don't you, Lee?
I love it. It's one of my favorite.
Really?
Yes, really.
Thankfully. So, last time we left off with Hamlet's father's ghost telling him that he was actually murdered. And Hamlet is just like, he has a plan. He has a very nice plan. We're going to figure out what that plan is on page 16. So if you have this specific one at home, then why not go grab it so we can read together. And so my plan took shape. I wore nothing but black. I wandered through the castle weeping and sighing, seeking out shadowy places to brood. If anyone spoke to me, I answered with the first wild nonsense that came into my head. And all the time I watched Claudius, looking for the slightest sign of guilt. I cut myself off from all friends, except Horatio. I told him everything, for I knew he was the only one I could trust. A rumor began to spread through the castle that grief had turned my wits. So far, my plan was a success, but it is one thing to invent a plan and another thing to carry it through. The strain of pretending of cutting myself off from kindness and good company was almost too great to bear. There are times that I thought I had truly gone mad, when I felt I could no longer carry the burden of what the ghost had told me. If I avenged my father, my mother's new husband would be revealed as a murderer, and her happiness would be shattered. If I did not, my father's soul was doomed to eternal torment. And here we have his plan taking shape. I wonder if he is really going to fall through with it. It seems a little too risky. Worst of all, I was tortured by doubt. What if Claudius were innocent? What if I had been deceived by an evil spirit? Questions went spinning through my mind like the stars spinning around the earth. Then one day, on a bleak afternoon, alone in my room, I drew my dagger and stared at it. The blade was sharp. If I used it on myself, death would come quickly, and all my doubts and worries would be over. But what then? Would I be sending my soul into an even worse torture? I weighed the dagger in my hand, balancing the fear of what I must do to avenge my father against the fear of what might follow death. It seemed I lacked both the courage to go on with my life and the courage to end it. Hearing a knock at my door, I sheathed the dagger and called out, "Come in," almost relieved at the interruption. That picture was of him contemplating whether he should end his life or not. I don't know. This interruption is really good. I wonder what it is.
Remember, kids, never do any of the stuff that happens in the story. This is all just a story.
Yes, E, thank you. A woman entered. It was Lady Ophelia, her fair hair shining like a candle flame, her eyes filled with love and concern. My heart lifted and then sank. Ophelia and I had loved each other since we were children. Before my father's death, I had been certain that she was the one I would marry. But now, everything had changed. There was no room in my heart for love. "Lord Hamlet," Ophelia said, "my father asks if you will attend the performance of the royal plays tonight." As soon as she mentioned her father, I knew what was happening. Her father was Polonius, the royal chamberlain, a meddling fool who loved gossip and secrets. He had sent Ophelia to try and discover why I was acting so strangely. Ophelia would report everything I said to Polonius, and he would report it to Claudius. I was sickened. The castle of Elsinore was a place where brothers murdered brothers, wives forgot their husbands, and fathers used their daughters as spies. I wonder what's going to happen next. I laughed carelessly to hide the ache I felt when I looked at Ophelia's beautiful face. "Tell Lord Polonius that I shall be at the play," I said. Ophelia turned her head, and I saw a tear fall across her cheek. "My lord," she murmured, "why do you never look at me the way you used to? There was a time when I believed you loved me and wished us to marry, but now you seem so cold." I longed to tell her how much I loved her and that my coldness was nothing more than acting, but I did not dare. "You marry me?" I said roughly. "Marry no one, Ophelia. Wives and husbands are all cheats and liars. It would be better for you to join a covenant and become a nun." At this, she ran from the room, her sobs echoing through the corridor, making my heart break. And then, just as I thought there was no end to my despair, an idea came. First a glimmer, then a gleam, then a burst of light brighter than the sun. I hurried from my room and went to the great hall where the actors were setting up their stage. I found their leader, a tall man with a look of my uncle about him. After chatting for a few moments, I said, casually, "Do you know the play The Murder of Gonzago?" "Certainly, my lord," came the reply. I handed the man a purse filled with gold. "Act it tonight," I said, "but I want you to make some changes to the story. Listen carefully." I meant to turn the play from an entertainment into a trap to catch a king.
A king trap!
Yes, E, wherever you are.
I'm right here.
Okay. That evening, while the audience watched the stage, I watched Claudius. At first, he showed little interest in the story, preferring to whisper to my mother and kiss her fingers in a way that filled me with loathing. But gradually, the skill of the players won his attention. At the end of the first scene, exactly according to my instructions, the actor playing Duke Gonzago lay down as though asleep, and his nephew Lucianus, played by the actor who resembled Claudius, crept up on him and poured poison into his ear. Let's see if it works. Even though the light in the hall was dim, I could see the deathly pallor of Claudius's face as he watched the scene. His eyes grew troubled, and he raised a trembling hand towards the stage. I knew then that I was gazing at the face of a murderer, and that everything the ghost had told me was true. "No!" Claudius cried out, springing to his feet. "Lights! Bring more lights!" But all the torches in the world would not light the darkness in his mind. His nerve failed, and he hurried from the hall. We've done it! We've solved the mystery. I wonder what happens next. Mother made to follow him, but I stopped her at the door. "Do not delay me. I must go to the king," she said. "Something is wrong." "And I know what," I told her. "I must talk to you. I will come to your room in an hour. Make sure you are alone, and tell no one of our meeting." And that's where we're going to be stopping it today.
No! Just at the juicy part.
I know, E, just at the juicy part, but that's how I keep up my audience.
Alright.
And you've been such a good audience. So, what do you think? We figured out that it was Claudius, but now we have to see, since there's so much more left in the story, what happens next. If you enjoyed, then make sure to like and subscribe for more awesome adventures with Anytime Storytime and her sweet pal E. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, everyone.